So before we get started, maybe I can ask Jamie and Pat both to say a couple of words and introduce themselves. And
Jamie?
Please, Jamie, go ahead. And
Well, I would point out that I actually reached out to Bimba. You know, on the side of MythBusters, I do a lot of development, and you know, we've gone from I've gone from somebody that does effects work where we fake things, basically. We make things look real that aren't, to MythBusters, where we actually do real stuff, but it's still for entertainment, to actually making real things that apply to the real world that are useful. And that's sort of the direction that I've been taking. And I reached out to Bimba because I had a project that was brought to me by one of the by law enforcement in California, one of the bomb technicians who wanted a pneumatic product to help him breach doors in lieu of one of those battering rams. And so I thought, well, maybe Bimba would like to be involved with this because I could go ahead and design this thing, but they make pistons. And I've got racks of their pistons sitting on my shelves. I was looking at those and I was like, maybe they'd get involved with engineering this product. And so I approached them, and overnight they turned around a CAD drawing of the completed project. And I critiqued it and said, well, maybe this or that should be changed. And then next day, same thing. I got this complete thing. And I'm like, this is cool. This is, you know, this is an American company. It's employee owned. I started to look into the background of Bimba, and you know, they've anything you want in terms of robotics and manufacturing is something they can do. And so, you know, we were talking, and we hit it off, and we started designing other projects and looking as me maybe being part of the company. And I, you know, for me, that's very validating, coming from entertainment to, you know, learning over 12 years now of producing MythBusters, this incredible range of materials and processes that we deal with, and many of which are involve robotics or automation as one of our mainstays. So that's the genesis of why we ended up here. I like the company. I reached out to them. They like my mindset, and so they brought me on board.
And we're delighted to have Jamie on board. When my sales and marketing colleagues at Bimba brought the idea to me that what did I think about having Jamie Hyneman as part of our team at Bimba? I said, what a great fit. You know, here's a man that has spent a lot of his time trying to solve problems and understand why things happen the way they happen, and that fit right into our philosophy and the way we operate. We're just delighted to have him part of the team. He's going to bring a lot, I think, a lot of creativity and ideas to the Bimba enterprise, and will be a resource for us to bounce ideas off of. And I think that's going to be really a mutual beneficial relationship. So we're delighted to have Jamie with Bimba. Questions? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Besides that bomb breaching application, you got racks of their pistons in your shop. You must be using them quite a bit for a variety of other things. Maybe give us an example too.
Well, let's see. We've I'm trying to think of over the course of MythBusters now, as I said, 12 years of stuff. We've done in excess of 250 episodes in each one of those. You know, 2 or 3 stories and several experiments within that story. There have been, I think, you know, it's funny, and it shows the ridiculousness of a lot of what we do. The one that comes to mind, I think, the first one that I used on the show actually was something about static electricity. You know, actually, this was about cell phones causing fires at gas stations. And so we tested that, and it, it proved not to be, your cell phone isn't going to set off, a fire at a gas station. But static electricity, if you get in and out of the automobile, would, and that actually has happened. And so we wanted to demonstrate how you could create static electricity that would cause this, and we used a pneumatic piston to rub some ladies' underwear back and forth on a piece of plastic or something in an enclosed container filled with gas vapor, and it eventually made a big explosion. It was quite interesting. So I'm sure Bimba loves to hear this application of their.
We're not advertising that application in general out in the marketplace, yeah.
But it does point out a lot of what what we've done on MythBusters is there's a lot of stuff that we do that you don't need to know how to do. You don't need to know how to apply a pneumatic cylinder to do that. We've made balloons out of lead and all sorts of other silly stuff. But the process teaches, and it makes people look, and that is sort of one of the things that we're doing. You can take products and put them out there and say, look at this good product, and this company that makes it, or you can do interesting things with products, and so that's what I'm going to be doing, is interesting things. We're going to be documenting those. We'll be showing the potential of actually new potentials and new uses for Bimba products, and developing entirely new products that are relevant or comparable as well as a result of that. It's sort of, on the one hand, promotional stuff, admittedly, that in my case can often be playful, but as a case in point, like we mentioned my work with the Office of Naval Research, and a lot of the gratuitous use of explosives on MythBusters has actually precipitated real advancement in dealing with explosives. So there's a prime example. This is very, it's IEDs and things like that. That's what these products were designed to deal with, and that's a result of us experimenting and doing a lot of things that you really don't need to do with explosives. Does that make sense? And I also have to say, the thing about in my shop, I have the capability of building just about anything that I can dream up, and it's a joy to be able to do that. I've assembled an amazing array of things for in my course of my career for doing effects. I've turned out something like 800 commercials and a couple dozen feature films, and so I go down into my shop, and anything that I want to make, I can just pull stuff off the shelves and do that. And Bimba has been one of my go-tos for that, because these are versatile products that work, and they make things move. And that's in today's day of advanced use of robotics and this kind of thing, that actuators and solenoids and the things that make things move are fundamental. So that's the gist of what made me gravitate towards them.
I think the other attractive thing for Bimba, in terms of having Jamie part of our team, is the impact that I think he and his colleagues and the show has had on young people in regard to science. And I've talked to so many people that have seen the show, and the kids that have seen the show, and it really sparks their interest in science. And it goes right in line with what we're doing at Bimba. We are a big supporter in the in the Fluid Power Association. We have some Fluid Power Association people here. We're a big supporter of the first robotics competition, and that's at the grade school level. And we provide hundreds of thousands of dollars of product for young people to use to build robots. And so really, philosophically, we're in the same place in terms of getting young people interested in science.
Yeah, it's that sort of playful experimentation that resonates with young people. That's what we've done on MythBusters. And you know, this can lead, it plants seeds basically, seeds in the minds of young people, and you know, that will grow into new and innovative uses of products and so on. So it's kind of counterintuitive that it would have that effect, but sometimes this, like as I said, when you do creative things with products, people look at them and they're inspired. And so that's kind of where we're headed. Yes, sir.
Is there a project or if something you've always wanted to tackle, a myth you always wanted to tackle, but you just can't do it due to budget and it's just too crazy of an investment or too big of a event to do, but if there was an unlimited budget, is there one thing you've always wanted to do but just couldn't tackle?
Well, I guess you're kind of referring to MythBusters in that sense. There's, you know, the quick answer to that is that we would build our own rocket ship and go to the moon with it. But you know, that's obviously going to be out of our range. You know, we've actually been pretty well satisfied with what we've been able to experiment with on MythBusters. You know, as far as the kinds of things, as an example, with the experimentation we'll be doing with Bimba and the development, there's a lot of room for advancement in speed and accuracy that, you know, is now possible due to advanced sensing technologies and things like that. And so one of my goals is to be able to show the limits of those things, or rather push the limits of what some of these motion control technologies can do. Pneumatics in particular, you know, very fast moving means of actuation, very light, very inexpensive. You know, how far can we push that when combined with advanced sensing?
And that advanced sensing would be our new product, IntelliSense. Sorry, I couldn't pass up that opportunity.
Well, and IntelliSense also, you know, it's one of, that was the kind of thing that I was looking at as a specific example of that, is that IntelliSense is something that applies towards, you know, increasing reliability in automation, because you know when something's or you know before something needs to be replaced when it needs to be replaced. But that same thing actually has a lot of other implications. You know, because it's responding to pressure changes and so on. It is something that can make allow you to effectively have, as an example, a touch-sensitive device, because it tells you what kind of pressure is being applied to something. So, or it may lead to something else. That's one of the things that I'm intrigued with sensing. It can actually make a lot of things possible that weren't.
Jamie, you were at Bimba, I think, yesterday or the day before. You had an opportunity to meet with the engineering team and talk to that group for the first time. Can you talk a little bit about that experience and what was it like to see the factory and meet your new team members at Bimba?
Well, it was thrilling to see the way that Bimba has evolved. You can look through the building and see that, you know, they keep adding on as they grow, and they're, you know, there's the first thing that I noticed was an organization that allowed a flow from raw material to finished product that was very very evident and elegant in the way they set up the factory. I guess, but the big thrill was actually meeting the engineers themselves and talking about, I guess basically we were just geeking out about, you know, new ideas and things like that. Having access to a team of top-level engineers to kind of, you know, be at my beck and call to advance my plan for world domination is, you know, kind of thrilling to me. So, I'm kidding. And yes.
How has your experience and role as a customer, how do you think that's going to impact your role now as a Bimba team member?
Well, that's a good question. I'm intimately familiar with their products. I've used them. And one of the other things is, which also puts this in perspective, I suppose, is that our standard operating procedure on MythBusters and in effects in general is using tools and materials in ways for which they were never intended. And so what that does actually is teaches the, you know, it's one thing to learn how a product is supposed to be used, and, you know, you read in the manual or talk to somebody, this is how it's supposed to be used. You learn a lot more about it when you destroy it or take it outside of its limits. And in terms of, you know, Bimba's products, we've used them to, you know, we've blown them up with explosives. We've, you know, we've used them in in so many applications I can't remember them all. But my insights from that experience as to what works, is important. And one of the things actually that I wasn't aware of getting into into this, and it was part of the reason that this connection was made was, and I found this out through observing yesterday what happens between the distributors and the company, is something called specials. And this is very telling about the company, because what they have is, you know, most companies are going to want to, and Bimba would prefer to have stuff come in that is, you know, massive orders that produces a lot of revenue for them and so on. But they also do and have made a very significant part of their business specials, which are, you know, smaller orders that may be unique and things that come up that they turn out. They have their engineers are there to implement these specials, and that's essentially what turned around this initial product for me in such quick time. Well, I had an idea, I told them about it, and then boom, here's this CAD, you know, design of the thing. And what that does is actually, it's very forward thinking, because some of those products are new products that will become a part of Bimba's line at some point. It also provides them, just like they reached out to me or vice versa, and made a connection, it opens up all sorts of new doorways. So even if it's not in and of itself a massively lucrative, you know, thing that they would do on a special, it pays for itself, and it opens a lot of doors. And so, what was the question again?
You answered it, thank you.
We'll take a few more if anyone else would like to pose a question. Any final remarks from the gentleman?
I guess I'm excited to see where this will go. This is like a lot of stuff that I've done and what I like to do, it's an experiment. Maybe it won't work, maybe it will, but it's going to be interesting, I can guarantee that.
And the same with us. You know, we are, a lot of the Bimba people know we like to try things, and we try a lot of things, and this sounds to me like it's going to be a relationship that's going to add value both for Bimba and hopefully for Jamie. So we're...
Although I can tell I freaked him out with the rubbing on layers.
We won't, we'll keep them away from our marketing strategy, but other than that, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, be careful when you get in and out of your car if you're filling your gas tank.
Thank you very much for coming, everyone. Have a great day and enjoy the show.